Am I the antagonist for not canceling my child's celebration for a funeral? I, 45 years old female, my husband, 47 years old male, and our daughter, 14 years old female, have been dreaming and planning her quinceañera ever since she was 13 years old, and she is set to have it in late April 2024. My daughter had been talking about her quinceañera ever since she went to her cousin's a few years back, and it had become my goal to make sure it was everything she wanted it to be since I didn't get to have a quinceañera growing up. A week ago, a very distant cousin of my mother died, and even though my mother barely talked to the woman and I have never met her throughout my life, she wants the whole family to stop everything and mourn. My mother, her other cousin, the relative's sister, and the relative's daughter had some family members over to discuss preparations and funeral arrangements. My mother insisted I join her, even though I don't know most of her cousin's siblings. However, the daughter and I had gone to middle school together, and she was not the nicest person. The little meeting discussed caskets, flowers, food, etc. The deceased sister had shared the date with us, and it totally did not work as it was on the same date as my daughter's quinceañera, and I had told them all that this would interfere with my daughter's quinceañera. My mother was more interested in pleasing her family than me, so she suggested we change the quinceañera to a few days after the mourning period. I am not able to do that since we have already paid down for a venue that is very sought after in the area, and spring is the venue's most booked season. It would be impossible to pick another date. I had left in a rage, and the next day my mother called very upset as she felt embarrassed by my outburst, and I needed to fix it, or she would not attend her granddaughter's quinceañera. I told her that I didn't care if she showed up or not. The one she had to deal with and answer to at the end of the day was her grandchild, and she was not the only grandparent in her life. She also had her abuela and abuelo on her dad's side to take my mother's place. 5 days before the quinceañera, I have yet to contact her. Am I the a-hole? It sounds like you've put a lot of effort into planning your daughter's quinceañera, and it's understandable that you wouldn't want to change the date last minute due to unforeseen circumstances. Your mother's reaction seems to have added unnecessary stress, but ultimately, the decision should prioritize your daughter's special day. You're not the a-hole for standing your ground and focusing on making the celebration memorable for your daughter. Am I the antagonist for getting mad and storming off because my partner walked in on me in the bathroom? So my husband, 35 years old male, and I, 35 years old female, have lived together for 13 years, got together in 2007, and have been married since 2017. It took a number of years before I was comfortable peeing in front of him, but for obvious reasons, I would like to go number 2 privately. I've never really talked openly about needing to go. I just go in and out quickly, which surprises him because he can be gone for 20 minutes. Anyway, when we moved into our last house, he realized he could unlock the door from the outside. The first time I was in the shower, I don't mind him seeing me shower. I laughed it off but made a mental note to be aware he might do it again. It happened a couple more times, a few near misses when I was changing a pad during a heavy period or going number 2, so I asked him to stop. He did it again, and I got really mad. He said I was overreacting. We moved house 3 years ago, and the bathroom didn't have a lock. Only one bathroom, which really sucks, particularly because I have irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, which is worse since having children. There were a few times where he walked in on me, often when he could hear the shower running, so he thought it was fine. Sometimes I put the shower on to get to temperature and go to the toilet while I wait. I got quite upset about it and said that if the door is closed, he needs to knock first, or if he knows I'm in there, just not come in. Again, he said I was overreacting and making it a huge issue. We finally got a lock fitted, and our son figured out how to lock himself in ache, so the lock had to go. That was about a year ago, maybe more, and it has been fine ever since. Tonight I went to the bathroom, and after about 20 seconds he walked in. I was really upset. I told him how upset I was, and he just couldn't understand it. Again, I'm overreacting. I didn't scream or shout, but I was really upset because I don't want to keep having this conversation. He said that he thought it was fine because I had only just closed the door, so he knew I would be decent. I'm saying it's not the point. I've asked repeatedly for him not to do it. He told me to put this post on here to get a different perspective. I'm upset, so it's hard to try to post in an unbiased way. We have a brilliant relationship in all other respects. Every marriage has arguments. This is one of ours. Am I the asshole? Your husband repeatedly walking in on you in the bathroom despite your clear boundaries is a serious breach of privacy and respect. It's important for him to understand that your feelings are valid and that this behavior needs to stop immediately to maintain a healthy relationship dynamic. Am I the antagonist for siding with my friend's ex during their breakup instead of fully agreeing with them? My friend, 26 years old female, got dumped by her boyfriend a year ago. She's still a mess over it and goes back and forth between what she did wrong and he's the spawn of Satan. I've been comforting her and listening to her ever since she reached out to me for support. Her ex is still in her life since her friends are still friends with him and they see each other during hangouts. From what I gathered based on what she said versus what her close friends said, he broke up with her based on incompatibility and he didn't see a future with her. They also said he's smart, well off, went to a good school and got a high-paying job. My friend, while caring and supportive, hasn't found a job after graduating, and it's been difficult for her to find something in her field of study. She doesn't have her driver's license. She has a bit of a spending problem, so she impulsively spends and doesn't save up. She told me they had some disagreements over finances and her lack of savings. In my experience with her, while she's kind, she's a bit of a mooch because she doesn't have money. She'll often ask for gifts and food, so I imagine if I, who isn't as close to her, experienced this, her boyfriend dealt something similar. The other day my friend was cursing her ex again and said that he would never be able to find someone like her, missed out, and she couldn't believe he broke up with her. While I care about my friend, if I put myself in his shoes, I can see why, and I wouldn't want to be in a relationship like that, especially at a young age. I thought my friend needed a bit of a wake-up call, and at her current state, she's not really the cat she thinks she is. I didn't say those exact words to her, but I might have been mean to point this out. I told her that I think she should work on herself instead of looking for love or trying to get him back for the time being. She asked me what I meant, so I explained that she should find a job, build up her savings, and maybe even get her license so she can support herself first. Right now he's working on his career and is moving up, and he's at a different point in life than her. I tried to be gentle, but my friend thought I was taking her ex's side, and I guess in a way I was. She's now mad at me for what I said, so I'm wondering if I was too harsh. Am I the asshole for saying this? It sounds like you were trying to offer constructive advice to your friend, encouraging her to focus on personal growth and independence before getting into a relationship again, which is a valid perspective to consider. However, the way you conveyed your message might have come across as overly critical or unsupportive, leading to her feeling hurt. It's important to approach delicate situations with empathy and understanding, even if the intention is to help them see things from a different angle. Am I the antagonist for not allowing my spouse to visit their dying grandmother? Not my main account, as this is quite personal and I don't want my husband to find it. All names are fake. I know the title makes me sound pretty horrible. Before you judge me, please try to understand my point of view. My 32 years old female husband, 34 years old male, let's call him Caleb, has a very close relationship with his grandparents, Marie and Tom. They raised him and his siblings because his parents were absent. Obviously, Caleb sees them as his parental figures and loves them. So do I. They are wonderful, kind people, and I will forever be thankful to them for raising my husband so well and treating me with such love. Caleb's parents live in Germany, and me and Caleb live in Canada. We moved for my job and better quality of life for our children. 3 years old female, 6 years old male, 7 years old female. The flight to visit them is around 9 hours, so visits are rare, once or twice every 2 years. Unfortunately, in the summer of 2023, Marie, Caleb's mom, got diagnosed with a tumor and started getting very sick. We were all devastated and went to spend the whole summer with her in Germany. Her condition remained stable-ish for the whole time, and we were hopeful we would have many more years with her. In October, she had a heart attack and was hospitalized. We thought it was the end. Our whole family and Caleb's brothers and sisters went to Germany, preparing to say our goodbye. Turns out she got better and was stable enough to go home. Of course, everyone was ecstatic. The same situation happened again this January and this March. Heart attack, hospitalized, it looked like it was over. But then again, she got better and we all went back home. Each time, we buy tickets to Germany and back for our whole family, which is about 5-6K. Plus accommodations, plus having to take time off of work and school, which is difficult. Last week, my husband got a call that Marie had another heart attack. I told him he could go alone, but me and the kids would stay and he would have to buy his own plane ticket. I am the main income earner. Reason is because I can't take more time off of work, and we can't afford to buy more plane tickets. I also find it difficult to say our heartfelt goodbyes every time, only to repeat it 2 months later. Caleb was outraged that I wouldn't let him visit his dying grandmother, calling me all kinds of names, saying I was setting a terrible example for our children. After hearing Marie was okay this time again as well, he calmed down a bit but is giving me the cold shoulder and will refuse to talk to me or acknowledge my presence. I don't know what to do. We are comfortable but can't afford to take plane trips every few months for who knows how long. And I am not keeping my husband away from his grandmother. I am just saying he has to pay for his own ticket if he wants to go. Am I the asshole? While it's understandable that you're feeling overwhelmed with the constant back and forth, it's important to prioritize compassion and understanding when dealing with serious family matters like this. It might be worth having a calm and honest conversation with your husband about finding a balance that works for both of you, considering the financial and emotional strains involved. Am I the antagonist for refusing to give my parent money after they abandoned me? I, 23 years old male, was disowned at 14 years old because I failed an exam. My mom, 45 years old female, was reviewing my test answers. We get a paper with all the questions that we get to take home. The test was religion. In my country, that's a thing. So according to her, 30% is the best I could get, and it was the final exam. If I fail, I failed the entire year. So I was disowned and forced to move out by the summer. In my country, you get the results 10-15 days after summer break. I moved out, and to my surprise, I got 98% on the exam. She had absolutely no care that I passed or anything. She said it was done. My mom was divorced, so my dad had no say in this. I lived on the streets for 4 years, saving up money by working small jobs like mowing lawns and babysitting. I would wash my clothes at the local college and sleep in a remote area where no one could see me. I dropped out of school because I couldn't afford it. When I turned 18, I got an office job and kept hopping jobs and investing. I rented a small apartment where my food was cup noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When I was 20, I had experience and got a better paying job. At that point, my investments grew enough to get better nutrition, and I treated myself to a nice resort. When I turned 21, I got myself a house and hopped jobs to a way better paying job around $85,000. When I was 22, I got a 6-figure salary. The boss was terrible, like an absolute pain straight in the ass. I put up with it for 6 months, the worst 6 months of my life. I would get there 5 minutes early and clock in 1 minute. Oh my god, he absolutely loses his non-existent mind. One day I went there 2 minutes late, and he said that an hour would be cut from my salary. 2 days later, he was screaming at me because I forgot to do a project he asked me to do. I just quit on the spot and left. I stayed at home for a little while, and after my birthday by like a week, I got a new job. Thankfully, the boss was very kind, and I had a $105,000 salary. It was a different type of job, which I won't say for privacy, not inappropriate, please don't flame me. And that's when my mother shined in. She asked me how my life was, how my job was, and how much I was getting paid. Then came the big question. She said, well, your sisters are going to college, and their tuition is very expensive. We might lose our. I was like, okay, and? She said, well, I thought you could give us some help as your biological parents and family. I asked how much, and she said 95 grand is enough. I was like, 95 grand? She said, I'm asking for a little. I excused myself to the bathroom and left. She kept flaming me on Facebook and stuff, so I just blocked her and acted as if nothing happened, not like I have any relatives that still talk to me. Am I the jerk? Should I give my mom the money? I kind of feel like a jerk for doing that. It's clear that you've worked incredibly hard to build your life from the ground up, and it's impressive how you've overcome such adversity. Your mother's sudden request for a significant amount of money after disowning you seems quite unreasonable, and you have every right to prioritize your own well-being and financial stability. It's important to set boundaries and prioritize your own needs first in such situations. Am I the antagonist for not inviting my parents or out-of-town family to my engagement party? My now fiancé and I went on a vacation last week from Sunday to Thursday. I popped the question on Wednesday night, and she said yes. We got back late on Thursday, and I planned a celebration at a bar restaurant my friend manages on Friday night. It wasn't huge or anything. It was just their back private room that had room for about 25 people. It was all put together relatively last minute when my friend told me the people who had previously rented it canceled, and I could have it for free if we committed to the bar minimum for the bartenders. My parents live about a 3-hour drive away, and my fiancé's parents are a 2-hour flight or an 11-hour drive away. While both of us get along with our parents, neither of us really finds them fun, and she has trouble relaxing around them. So I planned the celebration primarily as a friend's event. I informed some of her college friends who live out of town, and they came for it. Then I invited our closest friends in our city, my sister and her husband since they live in the same city. Besides my sister and her husband, it was just friends of ours. We had a great time, and everyone was really happy for us. We had FaceTimed both of our parents the night of the engagement, and told them we would celebrate with them soon, but didn't invite them to this event. Her parents don't even know about the friend's celebration, but my parents found out when my sister sent a picture of the 4 of us. Then my parents called the next day to ask about the party, and I told them it was a good time. I thought they were just happy and curious, but no. They then went on a pity party about how they weren't invited and spent more time complaining about that than anything else. They said I'm already starting everything off on a bad note by not inviting them or the soon-to-be in-laws. I feel like they're just overreacting, and I'm going to let them cool off for a while. But I don't know, my brother, who lives on the other side of the country, said they called to complain to him too about it. Was I really that bad for not inviting them? My fiancé seemed pretty glad to just have the friends to celebrate with, by the way. It sounds like you had a lovely celebration with your friends to kick off the engagement, and your fiancé clearly enjoyed the more relaxed atmosphere. While it's understandable that your parents may feel left out, it's ultimately your special moment to celebrate as you see fit. Just be sure to communicate openly and honestly with them about your choices to help alleviate any hurt feelings. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.